So go ahead. I'm going to full disclosure for everybody. I've paid way too much money to see Roger Waters in concert. Paid way too much money to sit in the nosebleed section. Would have bought a t-shirt, but goddamn, they were $70. On top of paying way... How much money did I pay? I have seen all kinds of concerts in my life. And I don't remember which one was more. It was either Lady Gaga or Roger Waters is the most expensive ticket I've ever bought. And make no mistake about it. The reason why it is such an expensive ticket is because Roger Waters is barely playing anything in front of you. He's barely singing anything in front of you. You pay for a spectacle. You pay for the show like you're seeing here with the projections and shit. And the giant pig that'll fucking inflate and go around the arena. And I got the Nashville children's choir or some shit like that. Nashville Catholic I don't even remember who it was. Some kind of children's choir, all dressed up in jail outfits, singing "Brick in the Wall." So you pay for the spectacle because Roger Waters isn't really much of a performer. Just saying. And he's also a snarky. Okay, here's the thing: is like Syd Barrett is. For those who don't know, Syd Barrett is the original lead singer of Pink Floyd, and after Syd Barrett left the band because of his mental breakdown, Pink Floyd then proceeded to pretty much exploit Syd Barrett's mental breakdown and sing about like that's what fucking Dark Side of the Moon is, and fucking Eclipse and Brain Damage and shit. It's them making fun of their fucking friend and exploiting them for money, and it's kind of insidious if it's made me look at Pink Floyd a completely different way. Like knowing that. But Roger Waters is a really snarky old asshole who would say he's more on the left. But he's also a boomer, and he's, rich. So keep that in mind. But, this should be a pretty fun interview that he gives to CNN over the weekend.
And in the current show, you've got a montage of war criminals, according to you, and a picture apparently of President Biden on the screen, and it says, "Just getting started." What's that all about?
Oh, I know Waters and Gilmore hate each other.
Well, he's fueling the fire in the Ukraine for a start. That is a huge crime. Why won't the United States of America encourage Zelensky, the president, to negotiate, obviating the need for this horrendous war that's killing?
You're blaming.
We don't know how many Ukrainians.
But you're blaming the party that got invaded. Come on, you've got it reversed.
That's any war. When did it start? What you need to do is look at the history, and you can say, well, it started on this day. You could say it started in 2008. Okay, this war is basically about the action and reaction of NATO pushing right up to the Russian border, which they promised they wouldn't do when Gorbachev negotiated the withdrawal of the USSR from the whole of Eastern Europe.
When you say this, then I have to say, what about our role as liberators? You of all people.
You have no role as liberators.
World War II? World War II? You
got into World War II because
Come
it's
on.
Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor. You were completely isolationist until that sad, that devastating,
I would argue we were
day
always going to get in, and that pushed us in. But thank God the United States got in, right? You lost your father in World War II. Thank God the United States.
Thank God the Russians had already won the bloody war almost by then. Don't forget, 23 million Russians died. protecting you and me from the Nazi menace.
Hey, and you would think the Russians would have learned their lesson from war and wouldn't have invaded Ukraine.
Well, you,
Fair?
with all your reading, I would suggest you.
I mean, Roger's been pretty on point on this interview.
More, and then try and figure out what the United States would do if the Chinese were putting nuclear-armed missiles into Mexico and Canada.
Here's the problem with Rogers, is if you listen to him long enough, he's going to say something that's going to really piss you off. But he was right there. I think we got another part of it here. Here's the second part of him with Schmirkornish.
The Chinese are too busy encircling Taiwan as we speak. Okay?
They're not encircling Taiwan. Taiwan is part of China. And that's been absolutely accepted by the whole of the international community since 1948. And if you don't know that, you're not...
He's not wrong on that either, but also, like...
Did we solve anything here today?
Also, like, oh, that's... He's not wrong, because the U.S. recognizes the one China policy. The U.S. recognizes the one China policy. Here's the problem, though, is if you stand on the side of democracy, freedom, and self-determination, then you should want the Taiwan. But the Taiwanese people don't really. They want to still exist in this quasi-democratic, but still part of China existence. At last I heard in polls. Like, that's what the majority wanted. Unless that's changed in the last, 5 years. So, I don't know yet. Technically, we acknowledge. Okay. We acknowledge the one China policy. Thank you, Sitting Cow, for making that distinction for me, because that is an important distinction. We acknowledge is a little different than actually recognizing the policy and because obviously Taiwan, some people in our government feel that Taiwan has a right to exist because Nancy Pelosi was just there. That's why we talked about China and Taiwan all last week. But this has been a hell of an interview.
The Chinese are too busy encircling Taiwan as we speak. Okay?
They're not encircling Taiwan. Taiwan is part of China. And that's been absolutely accepted by the whole of the international community since 1948. And if you don't know that, you're not reading enough. Go and read about it.
Okay. Did we solve it?
No, well, yeah, we did. Well, I mean, no, we didn't. Because
Nancy,
you're believing your propaganda, your side's propaganda.
You're defining it as
Taiwan,
propaganda.
you can't have a conversation about human rights, and you can't have a conversation about...
Oh, here's a Smokey.
...without actually doing the reading.
Roger, if you're having a conversation about human rights, at the top of the list of offenders are the Chinese. Why is it always the Western world?
At the top of your list?
Why is it
the
always
Chinese
the Western
didn't
world?
invade Iraq and kill 1 million people in 2003. In fact, as far as I can recall, hang on a minute, who have the Chinese invaded and murdered, slaughtered?
Their own.
Bollocks.
Okay.
That's absolute nonsense. Complete nonsense. You should go away and read, but read some proper
Hey, my
literature.
problem is I spend too much time reading your liner notes, okay? Thank you for doing this.
Maybe that's why you're so fucking stupid, Smear Cornish. I have no clue how to say his name. Oh, that was fun. That was fun. Dude that said we don't need no education. Telling people go read. But I mean, clearly that was a commentary on society. It was a pro-education message, I would assume. Twitter obliterates Elon Musk's excuses for trying to kill $44 billion deal in blistering court filing. Back in April, Elon Musk made a $44 billion offer to buy Twitter before he decided in July that he wanted to cancel the deal. But that's not how it works when you've already made a legally binding commitment, and a new court filing from Twitter pokes hole after hole in every complaint the Tesla CEO has made about the purchase agreement. Twitter sued Musk last month, explaining that he was still on the hook to fork over all that cash. Musk countersued and submitted explanations for why he didn't want the social media company anymore, and Twitter has responded to those claims in a court filing in Delaware, unsealed on Thursday. Making Roger Waters seem reasonable is no small feat. Oh! Very true, because like Roger Waters is very much up his own ass, and I say that as somewhat of a fan, less of a fan than I was, 10 years ago. Man, when I was doing a lot of acid and mushrooms, like exclusively listening to Pink Floyd and Radiohead. I would get incredibly fucked up and listen to Pink Floyd and Radiohead. But you gotta watch with the Radiohead though, because like you don't want a bad trip. So you can't just put like Radiohead on shuffle. So like some sad ass song's gonna come on and you're gonna be like, oh, this completely killed my buzz. No, I wanted to dance, motherfuckers.